The dilemma I'm going to talk about today that was quite formative for me starts with the murder of George Floyd. This was something, I saw the video, the 8 minutes and however many seconds long, and, every second of that video, you're just wondering what is going on and how is this happening and how are we letting this happen? And kind of backpedaling, I had never been involved really in politics. Plus, I was just, barely of age at that point to even vote. Never really grew up in a household where it was talked about a whole lot in terms of like politics, other outside of just like the Christian views and values. And it ignited something in me after seeing that video that I needed to be more involved. And I feel very much that if you're trying to be passive or neutral, that you are ultimately choosing the side of the oppressor. And I felt like I needed to do something. So I attended a couple Black Lives Matter protests, one of which was in Madison. And it was very interesting and awesome to see, the unity that was there, the different people from so many different backgrounds coming together to support this and, having our voices heard and all of those things so positively being influenced there. And then on the other side of it, you see this massive amount of police presence. And it was almost just kind of like the issue that was at hand was just kind of in your face while you're, kind of having this kind of form of unity. And it was always something that kind of just stuck out to me. I also attended another Black Lives Matter protest in Kenosha, and it was actually the same day that Rittenhouse killed 2 people and wounded another one. And I wasn't there during the hour that it happened because I had left at curfew on that day. But, the things that I witnessed were just insane. And I couldn't believe that, this kind of thing, that what happened to George Floyd was something that could happen in today's day and age. I was focused on, the idea of MLK and everything that he stood for and everything that he went up to bat for, and just how much risk that him and those people that surrounded him and were on board with him in those protests, the risks that they took, the bravery that they had, and ultimately the risk, even bigger risk of if they didn't do anything, nothing would happen. And it really just kind of like put that idea in front of my face and really felt like I needed to do something. So I started getting more and more involved. And the same idea of when we think about George Floyd and some of the backlash that was happening, especially during that time, was one of which was like people saying all lives matter, which was something that I had a really hard time with dealing with, as it's a protest to a protest. And I just didn't understand or fathom how that was happening or why that's happening. White lives weren't at risk. That's why it wasn't White Lives Matter or anything of that nature. It was Black Lives Matter because those were the lives that were in danger. And we saw it happen, all 8 minutes and some seconds of it. Another thing that I would hear during that time was, he was always in trouble with the law anyways, That's not what we should be remembering him as. Sure, maybe he made choices that maybe weren't the best. Maybe he didn't. But the fact of the matter is, he was murdered wrongfully by a police officer, brutally. Nothing else should matter. We have to think about the memory of face, like the book The Night talks about. It's not something we can be passive about. We can't view people as statistics. We need to know the stories, as he talked about. George needs to be remembered as a man who happens to be Black that was brutally and wrongfully killed by a policeman or police officers. And it's because of the system, because of the structural racism that is seen in law enforcement that we continue to allow. I used to get mad when people would make ignorant comments, and I would kind of almost freeze because I was just so infuriated. in the last couple years, I've been really working on how can I make the best of those moments and even educate people. And that's what I have found to kind of take me out of this dilemma and feel like I'm making a change and doing something positive. And I feel like it's what we should all be doing and kind of doing our part is when those kind of tough conversations come up, trying to navigate them, ask questions, ask why are you saying that, or why do you believe that, or presenting some facts, not being argumentative because that doesn't get anybody anywhere, but showing interest and helping guide that conversation to at least plant a seed, if not change a mind. It's also this kind of topic was shown a lot in the book Between the World and Me, when he talks about all of the different racial injustices. So ultimately, we need to come together to help solve this problem, have those tough conversations, make those kind of big changes so we can see true progress.